The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams, says one of the amazing quotes. Hello, listeners. Here is Giridhar with you on the podcast Giridhar's Garady. Today, we have someone who is calm yet talkative, innocent yet smart, humorous yet inspiring. Above all, a notable and multi potentialite personality. But what is this multi potentialite all about? Let's find out from her itself. Here's welcoming the guest for today's episode, Neeraja. Hi Neeraja, welcome to Giridhar's Gardy. How are you doing today?
Hi Giridhar, I'm doing great. Thanks. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Thank you so much. Great. Just one question before we start. How do you feel like being a guest on this podcast?
This is the first time I'm being on a podcast. I keep checking out your content. I wonder how do you manage to get the motivation to record a podcast every week amid this lockdown? And when you
Okay.
first messaged me about being a guest on your podcast, I was like, well, that's going to be a whole new experience. I was glad that you considered asking me. I feel excited.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much, Neeraja. All right. So, Neeraja, tell me, what is multipotentialite all about?
Multipotentialite, or in short, multipod, is a person who thrives on several interests. These people can't imagine themselves sticking to a particular specialization, leaving everything else behind. They would rather feel better if they had multiple careers rather than one. They could either be doing multiple part time jobs or a full time job with several side projects on the plate. The second one is my preference, a full time job with various side projects.
Sounds interesting. So, how do one become multipotentialite?
So we can become a teacher, a doctor, an engineer, a lawyer, or anything. Ever since childhood, we are taught to choose one profession over all the other professions. A multipod is someone who struggles to fit into that pattern. They are happy to pursue a combination of professions. In my opinion, we don't become a multipod, we eventually discover that we are one.
Oh, okay. So, when did you discover that you are a multipotentialite?
When I was a kid, my family would try to figure out what would I become when I grow up. I used to wonder when they asked me, how could we even choose? Was the question on my mind. I had trouble answering to the question, what would you become when you grow up? Nobody asked me what all would you like to become. It's not like I was a doctor material, an engineer material, a lawyer material, or whatever. I was just a curious kid who loves to learn. My parents eventually narrowed down the options for me with the options doctor or engineer. That made it easy for me. So I chose to be an engineer and started my career. Though I never felt complete, I felt that there is more to myself than being an engineer.
Great.
I
So, how
I discovered my interest in public speaking, writing, psychology, wellness, and music. I didn't discover all these at the same time, but they happened at various phases. So one day I wondered, oh, why am I not normal? Why would I want to be everything? Am I crazy? So I googled this up. Why do I want to become everything? To my surprise, I found several articles talking about this, referring to this. I found a TED talk by Emily Wapnick. She's a multipotential herself. So I listened to her TED talk. I could totally relate myself to her talk. I also came to know about a community that she started for multiparts. It's called Putty Light. So, when I went through the stories shared on the community, I found out that I am not alone and I am not crazy. It's completely normal and amazing to be a multipod.
Wow, that's amazing. So, how do you deal with this multipotentiality?
It's a fact that I have several interests, but I can't pursue all of those simultaneously. That would be really challenging and difficult. So I always have my priorities defined. I also would like certain stability in my career. So I kept growing as a software engineer. Besides my day job, I kept exploring my interests like public speaking, writing. I have been blogging about my experiences in general and as an Android developer in particular. I joined Toastmasters to embrace my interest in public speaking. I discovered that people are liking the content that I make, so I eventually started blogging. I am not so consistent these days, but I also didn't give up. I had to keep my other interests aside for the time being. I'm willing to dig in I'm willing to dig into those whenever I feel so.
Great. So, Neeraja, one most important question that I want to put to you now. In what way being a multi-potentialite helps us in making a living?
So, if you are a multipart and want to make money out of each of your interests, that would be really challenging. It's We should keep in mind that it's not a rule that all interests should contribute to making a living. Some people work at number of part-time jobs. Some people work at a full-time job by having a several side projects on their plate to satisfy their passions. So I prefer the second method, as I mentioned earlier, so that we don't feel pressurized to make money out of all the interests that we have. We can have a good enough job that pays us because we need money for everything. Even to pursue our other interests, we need money. We need to find a balance. Multipods need not sacrifice all their interests in order to make a living. Neither do they have to mm, live below their standards in order to chase their dreams. We need to find a balance at some point. So I've read a book which is written by the same TED Talk speaker that I mentioned earlier, Emily Wapnick. The book is How to Be Everything. In that book, she mentioned that there are three factors a multipod needs to consider: money, meaning, and variety. So these three are important for a multipod. How much of each of these factors makes you happy is something that is unique to each multipod, each individual.
Awesome. So it means at end of the day, only our happiness is something that matters.
Yeah, happiness as well as we also need money.
Perfect. Let me put my next question in this way. How do multi-potentialites influence others in general?
Basically, multiparts are generalists. They are not specialists. They could also be specialists, but they are not just a specialist, but more than that. They are naturally good at management and leadership. They value experience and learning a lot. Wherever they are, they radiate energy. They are not afraid to be a beginner. They often encourage beginners because they had been a beginner several times. That experience of being a beginner provides them with great wisdom, which could make them great influencers.
Superb. Let me put my next question in this way, taking the aspect of another topic. So it is like In what way is multi-potentiality related to personality development?
A multi-parts world revolves around learning and experience, which in turn leads to personality development. Let me explain. It takes lot of efforts and discipline to pursue various interests throughout our life. By nature, multiparts are very open minded. Otherwise, we can't learn several things unless we are being very open minded. As we be a beginner at several things at various phases of life, that experience could make us down to earth. It lets us know that nobody can be better at anything in their first go. We can realize that someone who is a beginner today could be a master down the lane. So we should equally respect everyone, including ourselves. Especially being a multipotential comes with several challenges. One of the one of the significant challenge is imposter syndrome. For example, if I look at someone who is into coding ever since they were 5, I feel that coding might be for such people. Why would someone even prefer me over someone like that? Our personalities develop when we find answers to such questions and stop this negative talk in our mind. Everybody is special in their own way.
True. I agree with you. All right. So now tell me, what are the advantages of being a multi-potentialite?
If we have to manage several things throughout our life, because that's how we are, that's the nature, that makes us naturally good at time management and also prioritizing things. Which do you want to pursue now? Which would you want to put aside? And when do you want to come back to those things? Our interest levels in each of the things keep varying based on our current situation. Multipods view learning as multidimensional. It's like if we learn something, it reflects in several aspects of our life. For example, if I learn coding, the logical reasoning is somewhere related to mathematics or not directly but indirectly. And if I learn martial arts, that discipline would reflect in other aspects of my life. It could be my regular job. That discipline would help me in my day to day life. It would actually help me in being a multipod itself. The wisdom we get through learning is transferable, and that way multipods possess various transferable skills. They can also adapt to changes pretty well. Basically, these are the advantages of being a multipotentialite.
Amazing. So in one way or the other, it is like one is correlated with the other.
Yeah,
Great. So, Neeraja, tell me, what is the impact of these multi-potentialites on the society as a whole?
they have a lot of enthusiasm. Every multipod has something related to creativity in their portfolio. I notice this as a pattern, including myself. I like arts. I like arts and also logic. So there is, if I observe various multipods, I see that there is something related to creativity in their portfolio. So for me, it's I like drawing, I like making crafts. Even though I don't get to make those on a regular basis, whenever I do that, I find myself completely indulged. With the broad knowledge and creativity of multiparts, they could be pretty good innovators. If we look at history, people like Leonardo da Vinci, Benjamin Franklin, and Aristotle were all great examples of multiparts.
Oh, awesome. I remember Benjamin Franklin, who discovered this electricity. All right. So, Neerja, just one message for our listeners with respect to discovering multipotentialite.
So, if you are listening to this podcast and feel that you are a multipart, remember you are not alone. Embrace the happiness. If you are a specialist, good. The world needs both generalists and specialists to work together and to make a team complete. This is what I ask you to remember.
Wow. Kudos to that amazing message to you, Neerja.
Thanks, Giridhar.
All right. Yeah. All right. So now it's time for us to move on to our next segment, that is the rapid fire round. Are you ready?
Yeah,
Okay. So my first question to you, Neerja, in the rapid fire round, doctor or engineer?
engineer.
Okay. So you are already an engineer.
Yeah,
Great. Author or counselor?
author.
Okay. Yoga trainer or singer?
Singer.
Okay. Teacher or student?
Student forever.
Yeah. Newspaper editor or columnist?
Columnist.
Okay. Dance or speech?
Speech.
Okay. Lawyer or chef?
Chef.
Okay. All your answers are just in line with what we have already discussed so far.
Yeah.
Great. Host or guest?
Host.
Okay, but right now you are guest.
Yeah.
The producer or director?
Director.
Okay. My last question to you, Nirja, in fact, my favorite one. Let's see what you're going to say. Giridhar or Nirja?
Giridhar. For a change.
Okay. I thought you would choose Nirja because you are already a multi-potentialite. Okay. Anyhow, thank you so much for choosing me. And thank you so much, Nirja, for being with us on the show today. We look forward to having you once again in the podcast in future.
Sure, Giridhar. Thank you so much. It's my pleasure being on your podcast. I also feel great. Thank you for
Great.
considering me.
Thank you. Thank you so much once again to you. All right. And thank you so much, listeners, for sparing your time today. I'll be back next week with another amazing guest. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. See you.